Let's talk about the one skill that, more than anything else, is going to determine your long term success. And that is your ability to make decisions when you're not sure, when you don't have all the answers. So let's dive in and figure out how to get really, really good at it.
I mean, have you ever been there? You're just frozen. You're overthinking a choice. You know you need to do something, but you feel completely and utterly stuck. It's that classic analysis paralysis, right? Where every single option just feels like a huge risk. We've all been there. So, why does that happen? What's going on in our brains? Well, in this first part, we're going to dig into the psychological trap that keeps us stuck. It's this powerful illusion, really, that just kills our momentum and costs us huge opportunities. Okay, so this right here really gets to the heart of the problem. It's this huge gap between what we think we need to make a decision and what the world actually gives us. We think we need perfect information, perfect timing, perfect clarity, everything lined up just right. But what's reality? It's messy outcomes, an unpredictable future, and opportunities that are frankly a little confusing. We're basically waiting for this perfect moment that is never, ever going to come. And where does this come from? Well, a lot of it goes all the way back to when we were kids. We're taught this very simple but very damaging idea. Success means being right, and failure means you're just not smart enough, not competent. And when you believe that, every single choice becomes this high-stakes, emotionally dangerous test. The fear of being wrong just becomes totally overwhelming. So, to get past this, we need a really fundamental shift in how we think. It's about completely letting go of the search for the one right answer. It doesn't exist. Instead, you've got to start thinking in probabilities. Just ask yourself, does this choice increase my chances for success? Does it open up more possibilities for my future, or does it shut them down? As soon as you start looking at it that way, a lot of that fear just melts away. All right, so this new mindset is the foundation for something I like to call the quantum decision model. Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. It's really just a way of thinking that's designed to give you total clarity. How? By focusing on what creates more opportunity, not what guarantees a perfect outcome. So, the core idea here, the heart of this whole model, is something called the probability field. Just imagine it like this. It's the total landscape of all your possible futures, everything that could happen. And every single choice you make does one of two things. It either expands that field, giving you way more options, more opportunities, or it shrinks it and doors start to close. Our brains are just hardwired to ask this one question over and over again. Will this work? Or, its evil twin, but what if it fails? The thing is, this question is a total trap. It's loaded with this demand for a guarantee, for certainty, that the real world just can't give you. All it does is create this emotional static that completely blocks you from moving forward. So let's just throw that question out. Let's replace it with a much, much more powerful one. And that question is, which option expands my probability field? See what that does? It immediately shifts your focus away from guarantees and toward growth. You start asking, which choice leads to more learning? Which one creates more connections? Which one builds more momentum? And suddenly, even when the outcome is uncertain, the best path forward becomes crystal clear. Okay, so that's the big mindset shift. But theory is one thing, right? Let's get super practical. We're going to dive into a toolkit for action. I've got 3 concrete frameworks you can start using today to apply this new way of thinking and just start making things happen. First up, you got to understand that not all decisions are created equal. They don't all carry the same weight. Really, there were just 3 types. You can see them here. Type 1 decisions, totally reversible. Think trying a new workout routine. You can always go back. Make those fast. Type 2 decisions are partially reversible, like, say, changing jobs. You want to be thoughtful there. And then you have type 3. These are the big ones, the irreversible ones, like having kids. Yeah, you want to take those nice and slow. And here's the kicker, the really crucial insight. Most of us spend a ridiculous amount of time and energy treating tiny, reversible type 1 decisions as if they're these massive, irreversible type 3s. I mean, applying for a job or speaking up in a meeting, it feels like this huge life or death moment, right? But it's just not. And that mismatch is one of the biggest reasons we get stuck in the first place. All right, so if we don't need perfect information, then how much do we actually need? Is there a magic number? Well, according to some of the absolute best decision makers on the planet, yeah, there is. And that number is 70%. And Jeff Bezos has a great quote about this. He says, if you wait until you have 100% of the information, you're already too late. The opportunity has passed you by. I love that. Think about it. Your mind wants perfection, but your future just wants movement. So the 70% rule is basically your permission slip to act. Once you know just enough, it's time to go.
Okay, tool number 2 in our toolkit is a mental model called expected value. It sounds a little mathy, but it's super simple. It's basically a quick way to figure out which choice is most likely to expand your probability field. And it does that by getting rid of that paralyzing question, will it work, and replacing it with something way more useful.
So instead of asking, will this work? That's the wrong question. You ask the right one. Okay, based on the potential upside versus the potential downside, is this thing worth trying? As soon as you frame it that way, you start to see that most of the really high-value things you could do, like apply for that dream job or learn a new skill, have this massive potential upside and a tiny, often non-existent downside. It just completely reframes fear into a simple, logical calculation.
All right, and our final tool is one I call the micro-decision method. This is your go-to when you're feeling totally overwhelmed. It's a dead simple, step-by-step process to take immediate action on any choice, no matter how big and scary it feels. Here's how it works. It's super straightforward. Step 1, just reduce the choice down to 2 options. That's it. Our brains freak out with too many choices. Step 2, ask yourself, which of these 2 options helps me become the person I actually want to be? This connects the decision to your identity, which is super powerful. Step 3, figure out the absolute smallest possible action you could take toward that option. And then finally, step 4. This is where the real magic is. You have to act on that tiny step within 3 seconds. That's it, 3 seconds. This is the secret sauce, because that little 3-second window bypasses your brain's fear circuits. It acts before the overthinking can kick in and talk you out of it. And remember, the goal here isn't to make some massive commitment. It's just to create a tiny bit of forward motion.
Okay, so let's pull all this together. What does it all mean? All these frameworks, all these mindset shifts, they're all pointing to one single central truth. The act of choosing is way more important than making the perfect choice. And this is such a critical concept to grasp. Life doesn't reward perfection, it rewards movement. Think about it. Most of the opportunities we miss in life aren't because we made a bad choice, they're because we were too slow to choose, or we didn't choose at all. And there's this incredible compounding effect that happens when you just start moving. Check it out. Movement creates momentum. That momentum builds your confidence, and that newfound confidence makes your next decision even better. And those better decisions just compound over and over, completely changing the trajectory of your life. Every time you make a choice, you're performing an act of identity. You're telling your brain, hey, I'm a person who takes action. I'm a person who moves. So, this all boils down to one simple golden rule for dealing with uncertainty. If you walk away with just one thing from all this, I hope it's this. Whenever you are stuck, whenever you are unsure, always choose the option that has the greater long-term upside, even if it comes with a little short-term discomfort. Because short-term comfort, that almost always shrinks your future. But short-term growth, that's what expands it. And that brings us to the end, so I want to leave you with one final question, something to act on literally right now. What is one small decision, just one, that you can make in the next 3 seconds that will expand your probability field and start moving you toward the future you actually want?